In 2026, the world has been overwhelmed with streaming services and their exclusive shows. Most streaming services provide shows that cater to a more older audience, specifically Gen X or Gen Y. Now what about Gen Z or Alpha? Well, there are some shows that attract that audience, especially something like Stranger Things, but what if you're sick of them or you're too poor for a streaming service? YouTube, the place to watch content for free. By all means, this is a streaming service with real professionally recorded shows available to watch for free, and of course, regular videos. And what's better form of content to look at than indie shows? By definition, an indie show is a show most commonly animated, produced by an independent company, maybe even individuals without a company. In 2026, the world has been overwhelmed with indie shows and their peculiar plots. Today, I want to dive into that genre, specifically the king of all indie shows. Has-Been Hotel?
No.
Murder Jones?
No.
Homestar Runner?
That's pretty close.
The Amazing Digital Circus?
No!
Then what is it?
Eddsworld!
Whose world?
Wait, no, don't say that!
Yes, all in all, I think Eddsworld, for its influence and impact, is the king of indie shows. Now, if you're like Little Tim and have no clue what Eddsworld is, allow me to do a brief summary. Eddsworld is a show made by Ed Gold, created in... Yeah, the start of Eddsworld is indeed an argument still going on to this day. The popular theory says that it was launched in 2005 with the Christmas special. To that I say, how the hell can our first episode be a special episode about Christmas? So I tried to find a playlist on YouTube. I found one created by Mars the Zombie that contains what I believe to be the very first episode. Ed. Appropriately named. He even shows Eddsworld in the intro, which further proves my point. So for the sake of consistency, we'll say the first proper episode was Ed in 2003, and Eddsworld began in said year. The show stars Ed, the leader of the group, a cola-obsessed artist, Tom, the more serious and Debbie Downer alcoholic, and Matt, the narcissistic idiot. Together, these three nutjobs find themselves in numerous misadventures. There are three eras of Eddsworld. Eddsworld Golden, ran by Ed Gold from 2003 to 2012, Eddsworld Legacy, ran by Tom Ridgewell after the unfortunate passing of Ed from 2012 to 2016, and Eddsworld Beyond, being run by Matt Hargreaves after Tom left the show from 2020 to present. Now that the summary is out of the way, I would like to explain why I think Eddsworld Beyond has some serious problems in 2026. Before we start though, I would like to put a disclaimer that my opinions may differ from yours, and if so, that is perfectly fine. There is no need for aggressive comments, nonsensical responses, or straight up insults. I'm just simply putting my own personal 2 cents. Let's not be immature now. Now that we got that out of the way, let's dive in. I think what it really boils down to is their harsh approach at fan service.
Oh dear.
No, not that fan service. Eddsworld has a pretty rough history with fan service, especially in the current year. Eddsworld Beyond, running since 2020, only has about 5 episodes, 12 skits, and 4 shorts, bringing the total to only 21 videos in the last 6 years. Now you may be thinking, oh well, big project like Eddsworld take time. Yandere Simulator had more changes in the last 3 years than Eddsworld Beyond. But I do see where one can go with that argument. The whole show seems to be running at a loss. With management being so bad, there was an AI thumbnail uploaded under the noses, and the next day they had to make a post on Twitter apologizing for it, you fucking bastards! And revenue that seems to be purely from patrons and merch sales. As a result, videos are uploaded once every Haley's comment. The last upload that Eddsworld made as of this upload was a damn compilation of past uploads. Even on Patreon, content is barely featured. With Patreon, it's promised that comics will be shown to Patreons 2 days prior. But as of this upload, the last comic on Patreon was Edgy on December 14th. They've also shown a snippet of a whole short all the way back on July 3rd that has yet to drop. All in all, it's a general lack of content and huge gaps that can make any fan at all die of boredom. And they know that. So how do they compensate? Merch. A lot of it. From makeshift to U2s, they never fall short with collabs. And man, do they love their limited time merch.
Gone for good?
Like these 2 limited edition Tom and Matt figurines from U2's. Because when the U2's campaigns end, they're gone for good.
As the days go by, fans are starting to grow increasingly frustrated with the crew for their abundance of merch, even accusing them of becoming corporate now. Now, I wouldn't go that far since it's still an indie project, but I can see where they're going with it. Don't get me wrong, merch isn't bad. Far from it. Merch is there for a reason. To allow like-minded fans to purchase their favorite media's products and happily show it off in the hopes that others can notice. Whether it be clothes, figurine collectibles, or plushies, it's perfectly fine to have merch. But the way they've been approaching it has fans calling it questionable at the very least. The biggest type of merch they love to go towards is limited time merch. Their greatest merch point blank period have only been limited editions, like creative shirts, actual figurines and plushies of the crew, and even mugs. Now, what about regular merch? Absolute dog shit. The shirts aren't as unique or colorful like the limited time merch. The posters are puny, the pins are extremely specific. Now, you might have another argument. They don't just do merch, they've uploaded YouTube shorts in the past as well. Well, let's take a look at one, shall we? Yes, I know they're called random for a reason. It's supposed to be nonsensical, but these shorts aren't even nonsensical in a funny sense. They're just strange, and with barely any voice acting, it becomes awkward to watch. The original random video on YouTube was tolerable because it was so good and actually had ever put into it. Even Tom's Tales of Crazy was better. As for the comics themselves, they're actually not that bad. But because it's only 4 strips, these comics can only do so much. I kid. The comics are a nice 2-second chuckle, but it's not filling enough to the average Eddsworld fan, respectfully. Let's summarize it all. The lack of Eddsworld Beyond episodes and Patreon content are a disappointment. The excessive limited time merch comes off as money hungry and unfair, and both the random content and comics can only do so much. Eddsworld Beyond is obviously a mess right now, and fans have taken note. It's almost as if they're simply ringing it, like it wasn't supposed to happen. On March 16th, 2026, Thomas Ridgewell, the original voice actor of Tom, made a 40-minute long article discussing the emotionally draining production of Eddsworld Legacy, the era to end it all. The end was called The End for a reason. In the article, he laments the distress he felt that the show was going to be continued despite a final episode being made. Quote, "A few weeks before we released The End, I just so happened to bump into Ed's mother on the tube. Standing amidst the hustle and bustle of Bank Station, I proudly told her that we were finishing the final touches on the final episodes, and that it would be over. She replied, 'Oh, Eddsworld isn't ending. Matt's taking over. Didn't you know that?' No, I did not. We called an emergency meeting and I begged them to reconsider. When I say begged, I mean I got down on my knees and begged. Me, Paul, Eddie, and the rest of the team had given our all to what we believed was a send-off to a show, and, more importantly, a friend that we held so dear. Unable to separate Ed from Eddsworld, the show was a wound that I had picked at for years, refusing to let it heal until I had kept my promise, and what I was hearing was that it would remain open indefinitely. It was more than I could take. The logical, rational, healthy thing to do would have been to compartmentalize. I needed to accept that the show was going on without me and that the fact that had no impact on my grief or relationship with Ed. But there was nothing logical, rational, or healthy about the last 4 years of my life, just a raw nerve getting plucked at over and over. I was incredibly mentally ill. Eddie and I empathetically, desperately pitched what we envisioned for Eddsworld after Legacy, which we called Eddsworld Forever. We wanted our final act to be releasing Eddsworld under a Creative Commons license. Aside from corporations mass-producing bootleg merchandise or making their own version of the show, anyone would be allowed to make anything they wanted, forever. My request was denied. Forever was scrapped, and I was instructed to include an announcement in the credits of our finale to let people know that the show wasn't in fact over. I chose my words carefully, not comfortable making any more promises, and said only that I was handling the control over to Ed's family. End quote. Eddsworld Beyond wasn't meant to happen. That wasn't in the script. Unfortunately, it shows in its management. While the end was fucking terrible, it was still a proper send-off to the greatest indie show in YouTube history. And for all that work to suddenly be tossed aside, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So, thank you guys for watching. Comment, subscribe, and oh. It seems like I forgot something. Something so unavoidable that it must be intentional. Very well, there's no helping it. It's finally time that I talk about him.
Hello, old friend.
Yup, him. For those who don't know, back in the 2000s, alongside Ed, Tom, and Matt, came a fourth character known as Tord, played by Tord Larson. Tord is a trigger-happy, hentai-addicted communist. He is the most aggressive and violent of the group, carrying and shooting pistols and blowing shit up. He famously has a rival with Tom that runs deep. No pineapples are in your head! Now shut up! Anyways, in 2008, Tord Larson left the show out of nowhere, allegedly due to harassment from fans and no longer having the desire to be in the spotlight.
I had never made a page about myself or anything regarding Eddsworld. I'm always anonymous when I'm online. I don't bring up my name or anything because that's exactly my point. People will go, "Oh, it's Tord from Eddsworld, shit!" And that is what I wanted to avoid. Tom said something about why I have to exclude the whole Tord character from the show. That is because I felt the character was too personal. He bears my name, my full name even, so I don't think it's appropriate to have like this character giving out my name and everyone thinks, "Oh, that is Tord from Eddsworld." I also like to address that we need to be able to tell the difference between the character and me, because I'm the voice actor. The character is just some parody of me. It's not like people think, "Oh, I'm a communist, I'm a gun fanatic, I'm addicted to hentai." Communist? No. My political views do not suit the communistic views. I don't own a single gun, I've never mind fired one. When we made the character, I was like 14, and you know how 14 years old are.
Alongside leaving, he took the character with him. Or so he thought. This leads to arguably the biggest problem that the show faces, the rights to Tord. Obviously, Eddsworld characters are indeed copyrighted ones. One would think since Ed Gold created the show and the characters, he owns them, right? Well, that leads to another obstacle. This. In the end, Tord makes a surprise comeback with a whole new voice actor, Jamie Spicer Lewis. Now, the question that whether Tord Larson himself approved of this is a mystery, yet to be solved. He did not. This leads to an issue. Ethics. Tord has stated in his final video that the character was deeply personal to him because it shared the same name. He was uncomfortable with it, so it was pretty unethical that the Eddsworld Legacy crew included Tord in the end without his blessing. Oh well, that's water under the bridge. That was 8 years ago. God, I'm old. That's what I thought too. Until...
Well,
Matthew Joseph Hargreaves, you better explain this. In an Eddsworld Beyond update, a teaser showing Tord was revealed, leading many to speculate what this could mean. Is Tord coming back? He is. I feel like this is such hypocrisy coming from Matt, considering on the Eddsworld website, in the facts section, Matt has dissed those that wish for him to come back, even in some videos like the Red October video.
despite Tord's departure in 25 Feet Under the Seat, well, in 2008, his character only grew in popularity.
Why did Tord leave?
And with his reappearance and subsequent disappearance in Eddsworld Legacy, those questions only kept going.
Why did Tord leave again? When's he coming back?
So with all this noted, what the hell, Matt? What does this possibly mean? I feel like it would be extremely awkward, especially since this kind of fucks with the canon. There's a theory going around that claims that Tord in the end is not really Tord. Instead, a clone of him from a classic episode, Spares. This would also explain why his character design was slightly altered. Look at Tord in Eddsworld Golden. Notice the clean face. Now in Eddsworld Legacy, look again. There's a bandage on his chin. Why is that? That seems like a bizarre change unless you think about the clones theory. Also, his behavioral change is unacceptable. One of the worst changes I've seen a character face in any show I've watched ever. In the end, Tord attempts to take over the world and even tries to kill Tom during the process, and says that Ed and Matt are not his friends.
Tord! What's going on?
Hey Ed! Sorry, I just couldn't leave this behind. Thanks for holding on to it for me.
But I thought we were friends!
No! What would I need friends for when I've got this? I'm unstoppable!
That is bizarrely out of character. Sure, he was always the darkest character, but never unhesitatingly kills his friends dark. The biggest reason why I say it fucks with the canon is something that the Eddsworld fandom holds dear to their hearts: the concept of Red Leader. See, in 2008, Tom created a concept for the show, Super Average, which would feature an antagonist known as Red Leader. Quote, in 2008, I came up with the idea for a series called Super Average, a show I still plan on making one day. The dream was to write it with Ed and have him lead the animation. For obvious reasons, we never got the chance to work on it together. We had, however, planned on fusing it with Eddsworld, setting it in the same universe, and having the big bad villain be a fellow named Red Leader. Hell, he's even name-dropped in What the Future. While we were never going to reveal the identity of this villain, it wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to figure it out. End quote. Tord was going to be Red Leader, with evidence being the Red Leader logo being shown throughout the show. But following rightful criticism after the end, the Red Leader concept was scrapped entirely. Quote, with Eddsworld Legacy over, I picked up work on Super Average again. The characters have been designed, including Red Leader, a pitch has been made, and a pilot script is currently in production. However, with consideration of criticisms and hassle from Eddsworld, I decided to scrap the character of Red Leader. The design and character will no doubt be repurposed if the series begins, but Red Leader will never be seen again. This is not only distance myself from Eddsworld, as it's time for me to do, but also to relieve the character of Tord from my control. End quote. So this leads to the big question: could possibly explain Tord's mysterious return at Eddsworld Beyond. Was the end retconned? Hopefully so. The whole presence of Tord fucks with the canon. This makes his appearance look more and more bizarre. Only time will tell what the snippet truly means. All in all, Eddsworld has multiple problems. Their lack of content and communication is infuriating. The excessive limited edition merch seems to be a cash grab now, and Tord's recent appearance has officially fucked with the canon. I hope that these issues will eventually be received, as I always have held the show really deep in my heart. It's one of the greatest shows I've ever watched, and seeing it crumble like this is deeply unfortunate. But I'm not evil. There's a lot of positives about Eddsworld Beyond. Based on the update video Matt has made, future content looks extremely bright. Comic books are now in development. Toaster Branch is making a comeback in full, and 2 episodes were seemingly confirmed to be in development. And with a snippet in Patreon, rumor has it that the next episode could theoretically be a sequel to What the Future, a beloved episode which many people claim to be the best in the show. I also absolutely salute Matt for managing Eddsworld Beyond alongside the crew, as working on projects like these are never an easy task in the first place. Any content at all is generally appreciated, even if it is pretty underwhelming. I would like to know what you think of the current status of Eddsworld Beyond in the comments below, but as of now, I'm very conflicted.